Hey everybody, for another edition to Track Talk Radio. If you're not used to this is a listening experience rather than a visual experience here. Before we get into today's topic, don't forget to check out the video just before this where we're talking about Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce setting even more records. And I'm your host Nick, and you're listening to Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes, performances, and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And this is Track Talk Radio. Now, many of you are familiar with the term hater. And looking at the title, today's subject are talking about, haters, energy wasters, time wasters, that general subject. We're going to talk about it in track and field, and we're going to talk about it in our average everyday lives, and then give a solution, like something that people can do, like a physical job, a skill that somebody can build up so that we can improve our own lives. And then each one of these, I think I'll try to drop some nugget like that on the videos. But yeah, so let's start by defining what a hater is versus criticism, because some people take, every single thing as hating. Like somebody that's fat. Now they'll say overweight and be all whatever PC and whatnot, but somebody that's fat and then somebody telling you that, hey, you may need to lose some weight. They'll say, oh, this person's a hater. They're, fat phobic. They try to label all of these things and then say somebody's talking about them, shaming them while they're unironically shaming another person. It just gets, that person has been indoctrinated to be a time waster. So then you start arguing that point like, oh, I'm not phobic. I'm not afraid of you being fat. It's just, not healthy. Nobody wants to see that, this type of thing. Then you going back and forth, and then that's just wasting time. You just say your piece and keep it moving. Now, criticism is somebody that maybe what they did. They said, hey, this person we ain't liking it. You might express something that you don't like. It may or may not be coupled with a solution. For example, a man might say something to a woman that's his wife. A husband says something to his wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, and then that's a criticism. He may not be able to tell her how to be a woman, but there's something biologically or within him that says, yeah, something ain't right here. It's not like you're going to tell her how to wear high heel shoes and walk right, but he can criticize and say, yeah, you look like you need to take some lessons on how to wear those heels, and vice versa. If the woman is trying to correct the guy, she can't really tell him how to be masculine. She might say the word, he needs to, quote, step up. That's not really specific, but it's still trying to get there. And that's where we get the massive confusion. It's the story of our lives between men and women, and between just the same genders with each other trying to communicate. This whole miscommunication thing. So she wouldn't be able to tell him how to be a man any more than he can tell her how to be a woman. He can just express what he does and does not like. So that could be a criticism. Now, a hater, on the other hand, and your spouse could be a hater, but this is separate. A hater would find an illogical way to bring you down that just really just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. For example, on that last video that I referred to on Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, they were talking about that that stadium was at slight altitude. Now, here's the thing with a hater. They go into the time wasting part. Time wasting is when they say something illogical, and then it's like they put it on you to prove them wrong. Now, I went into saying, look, the height is the 297 meters and whatnot. Now, if this wasn't like on a platform like this, I wouldn't even bother, right? They normally are on board, but then, we're going to disagree about things. So that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a hater, but that is a hater action. So don't get that misconstrued. This is an example. But yeah, they're saying 200, they're saying that it's at slight altitude, not counting that Oregon is at a higher altitude than that, if memory serves me correctly, by a few meters. And then altitude starts at about 550 meters to somewhere over 800, under 900 meters above sea level, and this is under 300, so it's not even qualified as altitude. High altitude is about 2,500 or something like that, depending on the sport and the study, of course. This isn't even at altitude level. There's variation between all the tracks everywhere. So when somebody asked the question whether it was a slow track, And that means Shelly Ann Fraser Price could run even faster had it been somewhere else. They just said it's at slight altitude. And I'm just like, okay. Nairobi was at actual altitude here and at high altitude. So what of Nairobi? And she ran at a much lower altitude and ran faster. So logic doesn't work with these people. You'll talk to them till you're blue in the face, and then they'll still stick to their point. You prove them wrong, then they'll be like, oh, okay. They'll either do one of two things. They'll acknowledge it or ignore what you just said and just double down as if nothing happened. That's when it goes into a time waster. Now, another way of hating is talking about Tobago when he was celebrating. Yeah, you could dislike it. There's different things between, everybody's not going to like everything or support what people are doing. There's a difference because if it's a group of people now dogging onto this person, okay, we heard it enough. One person, two people, three. That group of people can be a bunch of haters because they're not in that situation. They're just like, okay, I wish you would have ran faster. I'm unhappy with that. But instead they're saying, hey, he's arrogant because he celebrated. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. He's arrogant, and that footballers do it. The NFL players do it. Basketball players do it. All these other sports do it. And then when somebody says something like that and points it out, be like, oh yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Because sometimes we forget. We're in our own little bubbles. And so that means we just might have been criticizing and not hating. And in some areas of our life, we're probably a hater on something else. Like all of us. Probably a hater on something else. And so then somebody started to say, that's why you African Americans are this. And then they started talking about the Botswana lineage. It's just, look at World Athletics comments. Look at the comments on my YouTube videos. If you see the ones under the videos, you just start saying, what are these people talking about? So let's give an example of something that you can do where you could stay focused. Oh, before that, here's a final example of a hater in real life. Let's bring it closer to home here. I was running in high school as an underclassman. I came in freshman year, doing my thing, struggling a little bit in the compared especially to the people coming before me in the mile, 55. I did all from the 55 all the way up to the 2 mile. Because, you come in as a freshman on a track team, you're just doing everything. And then I said, yeah, even though I was fast, I'm saying, yeah, this is too short and quote easy, so I'm gonna do for the hard things. I was a little clueless on that one. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't just do something because it was quote hard. Even including the classes and academics that I took. Oh, regular class, AP, honors classes, whatever. The higher up and the harder, the more difficult I wanted to challenge. So sophomore year, I think even at the end of freshman year, I had already started to surpass someone that was above me as far as year older. And then sophomore year, he's an upperclassman, he's a junior, and he admitted later on in life, almost a decade later, almost a decade later, 7-8 years later, after the fact, at a random track meet I was announcing that he was at, he said, hey Nick, you know all those times when we were running together and I stopped to tie my shoe? Yeah, I was really trying to slow you down because I couldn't keep up with you, and I really didn't like that you were faster than me. So what a hater does, and what a time waster does, because they can't make you fail, they'll try to sap your energy out. Somebody will babble with you for hours and hours and hours and talk with you and incessantly whine at you because they can't stop you from succeeding. They can't actually go into your brain. If they could, they'll probably put some chemical in you, press a button, and then turn you off so that you stop shining. Because you're doing too much. You're doing better than them. They're jealous of you. That's what that is. That's jealousy. So that person was doing the physical version of yapping and babbling at me. So there's a lot of babblers around. You may have them in your life. You're trying to get something great in your life, whether that's a promotion, whether you're trying to get paid more, you're trying to learn a new skill, carpentry, plumbing, get a CDL, do anything that you're trying to do, IT, trying to get those certifications so that you can go into a field that's paying a lot, starting a farm, getting the money together, trying to pool money together instead of running away from your situation and country. You're saying, hey, let's pull this money together and do this. And they start incessantly babbling at you. And they just say all the things that you can't do. Or they're like your friend or family and they'll babble and they won't tell you that you can't do it. They'll just say things that just don't make any sense. Now, here's the continuation of that. So I could go 640s per mile, 630, 620, and even close to 6 minutes. Now, I probably could have gone faster had other circumstances not been there. But, you know, you want to train with your team. You're part of a cross-country team. He's the one that can relatively keep up with me. Even our coach doing ultra marathons, doing 100-milers and 50-milers. And he gave us workouts so that we could train with him. And then one day I noticed it and he did. We're like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. So he's burning us out to run slower and longer over distance miles for a 3-mile 5K in high school. So even our coach is like, yeah, let me do something for my own selfish pleasure. I'm a coach, but yet I want to make sure these workouts are suited for me so I can get better. And when we noticed that, my junior year, I pushed back and was like, yeah, I can quit this whole thing. So I could run those times by myself. Running with him, we're going like 7:30s. My warm-up pace was like 8 minutes. I didn't know that in some cases, actually, it's better to warm up. Our rival schools were warming up at like 6:40, 6:20s. They started getting to 6:20s toward the end of the season. But, hey, my warm-up pace, 8 minutes, 7:50 per mile, and he's running only slightly faster. Then at some point, you know, we do a 7-mile run. Hey, somewhere halfway point, we got to start picking it up. Okay, now I'm going to go 7:30, 7:20, 7:15. He starts to tie a shoe. Now, I swear I thought that, hey, you know, he untied it and tied it back up, and then he admitted it. So that means all these years later, I noticed. Even our rival schools, because I trained with them, they was like, man, hey, what's wrong with this guy? He said one time we had some guy with us at our rival school in our conference, because it was West Suburban. And he was like, hey, he said he had tuna or something like that. That's why he was struggling. I was just thinking that you guys were just, you know, taking an easy run today. And I told him, nah, it's a tempo run. So we started picking it up after he said, no, you guys go on, go forward. I had tuna today. He just made up some excuse because he was embarrassed that we were talking next to him. We were having a conversation. He couldn't keep up. Me, on the other hand, this is how you deal with it. If you're not a hater, you're just like, somebody's faster than you. You're trying to get like them, right? You might ask them questions. How do I get like you? What are you doing to get better? You're not trying to bring them down to your level. That's what a white supremacist is, an anti-black racist, and those collaborators. They're trying to bring you down versus, okay, let me improve, let me step up. So here's a solution that you use in real life after I said that. And going into IT, what if you were to get a Microsoft Azure? You go toward that and get certified in different forms of IT. IT is an umbrella term. You could be a data analyst, a project manager in IT. You get the PMP certification if you want to go into project management. That is a high-paying position. So IT is an umbrella term. Now I'm getting more specific. But if you go into data analyst, okay, that's not the highest paying thing. But if you make sure that your focus is like, okay, I'm going into be a project manager. I'm going to be a project manager at XYZ company. Then you go into Microsoft. Microsoft certifications, they're going to do you very well. So Microsoft for sure. You get C++. You learn how to do that. All of the things that I'm telling you now, well, PMP might be a slight difference with project management because you need some sort of other experience. But all the certifications I'm telling you now can be done in 6 months. If you're really just slacking off, 12. Right? 12. If you got to try multiple times, okay, cool. That just means your knowledge is not there. But I'm talking about first time up to bat and you say, hey, I'm going to take this test or whatever. 3, 6, 12 months. That means you're really serious on it. And when people are serious, they will move other areas of their life around in order to get that thing accomplished. So here's another one, CompTIA. CompTIA.org. Go to that website. You get your CompTIA certifications. They got A plus and Security plus. A plus is the basics, right? A plus is the basics. And those are the things that allow you to be like a security engineer or security. Oh no, that's security plus. Those are things like you could be a field service technician, or might call it a help desk technician. You could be a desktop support specialist, associate network engineer, or system support specialist. You see, you get technician and specialist in your title. You'll see a lot of those, but you can still move up. You can still move up with those, but that's the more introductory and basics of that. It covers operating systems, security, software, and hardware things. So you can go into that, but it's more like for technical support and IT operational facilities. Then you get Security Plus. This is like going into cybersecurity. This is countering email phishing, social engineering attacks. Remember, I was talking about the algorithms. Facebook has already gotten to task about manipulating people's opinions without even telling them, and running social experiments on people. And of course, it kind of makes logical sense that if you tell people you're running an experiment, they might act a little bit different. So, but anyway, this is very interesting. So you got that, you got the hacker tactics and more. So you can do counter hacking. You could be a white hat hacker. But like I said, cybersecurity and other things, social security engineer, security analyst. That would be something like DevOps, software engineer. You got the help desk manager, remember, not a help desk support technician or anything like that. Help desk analyst. So that's something like in network and things like that. Then you got the security administrator, also known as systems administrator. So many different things that you can do. So go to CompTIA.org. And then here's the more vague and general terms. So I was very specific in what I just said. By the way, I know 6 coding languages. Now let me get more general. So this is going to require that you do some research. But if you're interested in this, just drop some comments below, and then we might be able to talk on some things that you can go into. Now, here are the 3 industries within IT that you can go into that, man, they're exploding and booming and can make you a lot of money. Augmented reality. If you're in your mid-30s or below, especially, come on, let's go. Mid-20s, and even better if you're mid-20s or early 20s or teens. There are so many people that are listening to this. If you're going to try to be a pro athlete, you got 24 hours in a day. And most of that time is going to be spent resting, doing recovery type of things, slower type of working out, even as a sprinter. So while you're resting and everything, how about you put in some work in something like this? Develop your skills outside of that. No guarantees that you're going to be that pro athlete that can make a living with doing that. And we don't want to always just oversample ourselves in sports and entertainment. And the reason why black people in general are oversampled there is, even though they changed the rules in sports and entertainment, well, the other ones, they quite literally kill us, lock and box us out. They rip through laws. So they take laws and say, hey, here. Whereas in the sport, everybody's watching. So it's much easier to say, yo, that ain't fair, and it'll be stopped, right? Whereas if they take a business with a quote unquote nuisance injunction, whatever the heck that means, and then they say, well, we got to shut down your business because somebody across the street was shooting a gun and you're a nuisance to our neighborhood. AKA black person, we're going to enforce it on you, which is what they typically do, and we're not going to do it in other areas. Now, if you don't stay focused, here are some consequences of not being focused. Because if you stay focused, you can get into these jobs. Oh, augmented reality. Let me continue this. Blockchain. Those are 2 different things. And virtual reality could go into a little bit of augmented reality. And then AI, artificial intelligence. There are going to be people that are developing it, whether we like it or not. And then, of course, being the people that manage those systems. We're going to need those. So those 3 are some hot industries to go into. Hot industries to go into. You can work with Microsoft. You can work with some of these Chinese companies. Whatever you feel about it or not, make your money, become the best at it, or be the best of the rest. That's going to be our another topic right there. Are you going to be the best of the best or the best of the rest? And definitely we're going to talk about that within the track and field aspect. But if you don't stay focused, here's the other thing. You kind of like Richardson, where she has the talent, but then she's self-absorbed. She believes her own hype. Now, people around her and many athletes have come out and really defended her, and you get the phalanx of that. And it's kind of weird to me, but hey, it is what it is. Maybe they like the energy. I like the energy of somebody that can talk and then deliver. Here's a person that talked and didn't deliver on the international scale. Yes, he's an American record holder in the mile, 346 and change. Yes, he won USA national champs 3 times, but he didn't have any international medal to go along with that. Sure, he set the American record in the mile at some random, at a very small meet with no other big names, not even American big names. It was just like, hey, it was like a meet that was set up specifically for him. So then he got the pressure of other fast people, just like what happens with, people that can run fast. I don't think, if you're in that top 30 list, I don't see why people are saying, wow, these are just not good athletes. They're only American. Okay, cool. You wouldn't want somebody to say only Jamaican or whatever. Now, would you? Right. Like, those athletes are very fast. It's just that some have an intimidation factor. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price making Carmelita Jeter flinch. Okay, Carmelita Jeter is no slouch. Carmelita Jeter is very fast. So if somebody were to say, hey, you know what? Somebody beat Carmelita Jeter multiple times, but they couldn't beat a Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. Well, maybe different people have different makeups to handle different circumstances. So when you say, hey, Sha'Carri Richardson beat a nobody field, a no-name field, like last year, no, Brianna Williams was in there, and she's not a no-name. No, TT Terry's in the field, she's not a no-name, or just other people, right? So anyway, Alan Webb, that's who I was talking about. Alan Webb had some fast times. He was a trash talker, but then he never delivered a medal. He couldn't. Then his appendix burst, and he still was able to run quickly after that. That was a very unfortunate thing. Now he's a coach, so he's doing his thing as a coach, but he was never able to deliver anything when it came to track and field as far as an international medal. Still a great athlete in general, because he still was able to run very fast, win national championship in the USA, but couldn't do anything at the international. And on paper, he was faster than most of the people, if not all of them in the field some of those years. And that's the killing part. He's faster and, quote, better than them, but couldn't deliver. Now, Kimba Nelson, if she would have allowed herself to get absorbed into these time wasters, these people that were blaming her, they're blaming her about the whole relay team when multiple exchanges were messed up, right? They blamed her and said, yeah, you know what? If it weren't for you, you sorry son of a B, you sorry daughter of a B, basically. That's what they were saying to her. Saying, Kimba Nelson, if it weren't for you, Jamaica would have got this medal. You're sorry. You suck. You're trash. You're this. It's like, wait a minute. Didn't I make it out the Jamaica trials? Didn't I run a quick time that's not good enough for you? So she couldn't handle deleting the app. She just said, middle finger to it all. Let me delete my whole Twitter account. Now, I haven't checked up and see if she brought that Twitter account back or whatever it was, whether it was deactivated or deleted. I don't know. Personally, don't care. The whole point is, she just said, look, I don't have the self-control not to read these comments and not take them personally. And I'm going to counter my own weakness of it getting to my head by deleting this whole thing. I don't need it. Because if I look at this, I'm going to carry that into my practice. If I carry it into my practice, I might be more stressed out. More stress equals less, a worse performance. Worse performance, you start thinking about it, lose sleep. You might lose sleep from more stress equals injury. And I ain't trying to get injured on no people that ain't paying no money in my pocket. They're not putting any money on me. They haven't bought anything from me. They haven't done anything for me. They're just a bunch of people that are watching me live my life while they're out there criticizing me. It's not my fellow athletes and compatriots that are criticizing me. And if they are, we're doing it in private, as we should. And we're not doing it here on a public standpoint that we're embarrassing each other. And then that's what happens if you stay focused. But if she didn't, that would have derailed her. That can derail her. I would just want y'all to know, you have family members like that. Like that guy that I referred to you, or a friend, or a teammate, a coworker, whatever it is. You have family members that'll be smiling in your face, and it'll be like a little weird thing. I didn't notice it. I really didn't notice. I had suspicions, and I only ran with them about once or twice a week. Sometimes we had to do more runs, but there were specific runs where I just said, look, I'm going to run with him. This is what we do. I'm going to run with him, especially during cross-country season. Track season, I virtually trained by myself. And so I never really ran with him, other than if we did maybe 200 or 400 repeats or something like that and whatever. But cross-country season, it was a different affair. We had our coach there. We didn't really have a distance coach that was specialized at our school, so I was being trained by other schools in our conference, which may or may not have had my best interest in mind. I just know I got a lot faster by listening to them. And then I had to research and learn my own. But yeah, you have a lot of those people in your life where they're smiling in your face, but as soon as you fail, they're actually happy on the inside. They're happy. What did it do for them? Well, they just feel satisfied that you failed and stumbled. So while my original video was 32 minutes, this one is about 27 at this point. I want you guys to just take this away, that we can look at these athletes and try to think, okay, what can I learn from these athletes and apply it to my life? What can I do to make sure I keep furthering my life and the life, if you're black people. And if you're not black, hey, I'm not really too concerned with that. I understand that you're going to be furthering you and your people, whoever they are. But I'm more concerned with black people and furthering ourselves, since every other group collectively and the system is built on keeping black people down, keeping black people warring within themselves. And no, I'm not going to talk about like, oh yeah, the black, see, that's how it is with black people. That narrative is inherently false, especially specifically talking about black America. At every chance that we got, we built up. You never see them go in and massacre using the government military force, because they can't defeat us by themselves. They come in and they get handled like that. They gotta come in groups. Can't do it they can't do a one-on-one. It's never a one-on-one confrontation, right? And if it is a one-on-one, they get handled. Because think about pressure. You're under pressure. We got basically our hand tied behind our back the whole time. We have to think and become creative in that aspect on how are we going to do this. And so for people in other countries that say the United States is blessed, I've seen those comments. If blessed means making themselves off the back of the black Americans that built everything here, and then when we fought, because we didn't just get freed from slavery, that just don't happen. People don't, when somebody's abusing you, at what point does an abuser, whether physical, emotional, or whatever, at what point do they just stop? They just say, man, you know what? I've been doing this for years. I've been doing it for months, weeks. I'm just going to stop. I just had an epiphany and I'm just going to stop. Very, very rarely. There's very rare. And when you talk about a collective group of people where they indoctrinate their children, where they will destroy their own, they'll destroy their own just to make sure all of them are on code. Say, oh, wait a minute, you sided with a black person? No, we got to label you as crazy, insane, and everything. And we're going to eliminate you too. You never see them eliminate broke black areas. You don't just see them in mass. Black Wall Street, that was thriving. Imagine you got a whole system of oppression and they still doing better than you. That's talking about the height of jealousy. Be like, wait a minute, these black people are oppressed and everything, and they still being able to create something, that's what I want y'all to know in your countries. That's what I want you to know in general. If there's a narrative, the narrative is put out by these same people that are oppressing, saying, yeah, black people can't do anything. What they do is black people create something, black people do it, they steal it and kill the people there, and then say, well, see, and then have all of these Mzungus that they're in the place of them, and then they're like, hey, look, this was the inventor. Whether it was a light bulb, light bulb was not created by a white dude, it was a black dude. I can just go down the list and list. That's going to be on another information. But I'm just letting you know this still ties into haters, because we got a whole nation built up and exported this to the world of a bunch of haters. Great Britain, they exported their hatred to the entire world. United States exported that hatred to the entire world, and they incentivize and they try to block you out economically. So the next time you think it's a blessing to come to the United States, remember the group of people that supposedly had this, quote, advantage. Where did the advantage come from? If the country hates you, how do you get an advantage on a country that hates you? You got to be much better than the people that are hating on you, right? So the next time you think, oh, the U.S. is only well because they got training facilities and stuff, excuse me, my people came out of shackles and fought themselves out and literally was given nothing. There was no reparations given. There was no land given. How did we go from nothing and then develop ourselves to the very little that we have? Because they keep erasing us to zero, and then we build it again, erasing us to zero and build it again. Look at Atlanta right now. They're trying to use changing laws in order to get the blacks and take their businesses out. And once again, Atlanta, they'll be like, well, you know what? Cool. We're about to take it up under them. And then next thing you know, boom, 15, 20 years, you would have never known black people built Atlanta. Same thing with LA. Same thing with New York City. All of these metropolises have the foundations of the blacks that were there, but you wouldn't know because they'll just erase it, and then they'll feed a narrative and pay somebody to come up there. So when you think about your life, when you think about the people around you, when you're trying to do something, remember that it's a bunch of haters around. It's a bunch of haters. They want you to fail. They want you to fail. It's not that they don't want to see you do better. They want you to fail so that you stay in failure just like them. When that guy told me I didn't like that you were faster than me, so I stopped to tie my shoe, he didn't express, and at the time he may not have known how to express, but he didn't express, oh, how do I get as good as him? He didn't try to, let me see what I can do to try to get better at running, or he's just better than me, or whatever it is. No, I don't like that he's better than me. And there was a whole bunch of other things outside of running that he tried to neg me on. So it's not just going to be the one area of your job. They don't like nothing you do, and they're smiling in your face. I had to eliminate contact and cut off people in my family. Because remember, you're an adult. You get to create your own group of people. You may have the displeasure of being related to some failures, but guess what? You can choose who you associate with as an adult. As a kid, you can't. If it's your own parents, cut them the hell off. It's not your responsibility. They had this many years. They had 20, 30, 40, 50 years to get themselves ready. Not your problem. What your job to do is take care of yourself, to take care of the future in the little small circle of people that you have. And as you do that collectively on code, then that's how the group improves. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below if you guys have had haters in your lives. If you had people that have been time wasting trolls, physically they tried to hold you back, and something maybe you noticed, right? Something maybe you noticed, or maybe you were the hater and you said, you know what, this spoke to me. I've been a hater. Let me just see if I can change. I might not be able to change overnight, but I notice I'm a mass hater. And just go ahead and admit that in the comment section below. I don't know what you could do other than you just got to stop being a hater. There's nothing else. There's no advice. I can't take time, nor will anybody else be able to take time and say, okay, whatever. But if you at least admit that, maybe that's the first step of you changing. Because we got a whole bunch of haters in the comment section. They take every chance they get to talk down on these athletes. And it's not even the normal criticism. It's like this weird whack stuff almost personalized to them. There's a lot of people calling these the Jamaican girls men. I just blocked them. I was just like, okay. They called anybody black they get a chance at calling them a man. These are people that's hating. And they think I'm going to just agree with them. I was like, I don't even care if the woman looks strong in the face. Okay, and there are some athletes that look strong in the face in all these groups. Strong in the body. Who cares? They're out there performing. Those are women out there that are performing. Right? So, no, I'm not about to be one of those people that even allow and entertain that stuff. You get blocked instantly for saying something as ass backwards, stupid, and asinine as that. But anyway, once again, this is Track Talk Radio. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.